Have you ever woken up in the middle of the night, between 3 and 5 a.m., and wondered why? Maybe you felt restless, confused, and didn't know what to do at that moment. The truth that few people know is that this awakening can be much more than just a coincidence, or a habit of your body. Waking up at this time can be a call from God, a clear sign that He wants to communicate with you. Yes, that's right. And no, it's not just superstition or something random. There is a deep spiritual purpose to this awakening. Many believe that this is the period of the fourth watch, a time reserved for divine encounters. While most people sleep, God may be waiting for you, wanting to reveal blessings, directions, and prophetic declarations that can change the course of your life. And do you know what's most interesting? There are 3 specific actions that you can take when you wake up at this time that will transform the way you connect with God. These actions are simple, but powerful, and can open doors to blessings that you never imagined. Want to know more? The silence of the early morning provides an atmosphere of peace, where thoughts are clearer and the distractions of the world have not yet begun to take over the mind. This time can be a divine summons, an opportunity to connect with God and receive specific guidance for your life. Some people feel that, by waking up during this time, God is granting them a chance to participate in unique spiritual encounters, moments when divine blessings and purposes become more evident. Waking up during this time, however, demands a response. Ignoring this feeling can be like leaving an important phone call unanswered. This is when prayer should be fervent, guided by the intention to combat the forces that try to interfere with God's plans for your life. Many people report that their prayers at 4 a.m. are more intense, filled with prophetic declarations that shape the rest of the day. When a person gets up and prays strategically, with confidence in what they are declaring, they are directly aligning themselves with God's purpose. After all, praying at this time is not just a request for protection, but a true spiritual battle, where the believer has the chance to determine victory in several areas of his life. The simple act of waking up at this time is already a call to action, not to ignore. God often uses this period to awaken the chosen ones, and those who respond diligently will see a significant transformation. There are reports, for example, of people who experience profound changes in their relationships or in their finances, all because they decided to listen to God's voice at this time. Waking up between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. is not just a coincidence, it is an invitation to enter into a time of prayer, a time to listen to God and to make prophetic declarations about personal dreams and projects. This is the moment when the encounter with the divine can bring the answers that are so sought after, but that are only revealed to those who are vigilant. 3 important actions to take when you wake up at this time. When you wake up between 3 and 5 in the morning, it is not enough to simply acknowledge that God is trying to communicate. It is essential to take concrete actions. The first of these is to pray fervently. This is the time to position yourself spiritually, as a prayer warrior, and cry out for divine intervention in specific areas of your life. It is the time to fight against the evil forces that, at this very moment, may be trying to block the blessings that God has prepared for you. By praying fervently, you create a spiritual shield around yourself and your family. A powerful prayer at this time could be to ask for protection for the day ahead, prophetically declaring that nothing can stop God's plans from being fulfilled. The second action involves spending time with God. In a world full of distractions, these minutes of silence in the early hours of the morning are valuable. Taking advantage of this time to hear God's voice is a practice that can transform the rest of your day. Often, it is in this silence that the greatest revelations come. You can pick up your Bible, open it to a specific verse, and meditate on it, asking God what He wants to say directly to you. This is the time of intimacy, where you not only speak, but also listen. Practicing this active listening helps to align your thoughts and actions with God's purpose. People who develop the habit of listening to God at this time tend to experience a more productive, calm, and directed day. Finally, it is important to make prophetic declarations. Do not underestimate the power of words spoken in faith during this time. You can declare life over your projects, health over your family, and prosperity over your finances. Words have power, and when aligned with God's will, they can shape realities. A helpful practice would be to write these declarations down and repeat them each morning, strengthening your faith and activating the blessings that God has already reserved. This is the time to see yourself as a channel of transformation, not only for yourself, but for others around you. With each life-giving word you speak, you are building a future of victories and opening doors that would otherwise remain closed. Biblical examples of this period. The Holy Scriptures are full of examples of God acting powerfully during the night. One such episode is the story of Jacob wrestling with the angel, described in Genesis 32 verse 26. This encounter took place during the night and lasted until dawn. Jacob, in a moment of desperation and desire for change, grabs the angel and insists that he will not let go until he receives a blessing. This example shows us that during the night there is a unique spiritual environment where blessings can be claimed with faith. Jacob's story is a powerful reminder that God is present in these moments of stillness and wakefulness, ready to grant victory to those who persevere in prayer and faith. Another notable example is Jesus walking on the water, which occurred during the fourth watch, around 3 a.m. to 6 a.m., as recorded in Mark 6 verse 48. While the disciples were struggling with a storm at sea, Jesus appeared walking on the water, showing his supernatural power. This moment demonstrates how, in the midst of life's storms, God acts in surprising ways to bring relief and restoration. Like the disciples, we often find ourselves in moments of personal or spiritual turmoil, but it is precisely in this early morning period, when we least expect it, that God reveals himself in a powerful way, bringing peace and calming the storms. These biblical examples illustrate that the early morning is not just any time. It is a time chosen by God to perform miracles and grant guidance. Just as Jacob held the angel until he received the blessing and the disciples saw Jesus walk toward them in the midst of the storm, we too can expect great things from God when we pray and remain alert during these hours. The pattern is clear. God manifests himself in special ways to those who are willing to connect with him during this time. And just as in biblical times, those who watch in the early morning can experience unexpected blessings and supernatural victories. Importance of being a spiritual watchman. Being a spiritual watchman is more than a title. It is a sacred calling that requires attention, discipline, and courage. In Ezekiel 33 verse 6, we see that a watchman is someone who stands up to protect his community, his family, and his own soul from the attacks of the enemy. Today, this means being someone who intercedes in prayer, constantly seeking God's will, and building spiritual barriers against any attempted attack. Just as the watchmen of an ancient city stood alert on the walls, watching for the good of all, the Christian who commits to praying in the early hours of the morning is taking on this essential role in the spiritual realm. He is, in fact, protecting his loved ones from dangers they cannot even imagine. This role of watchman is not only a responsibility, but also an opportunity to be a channel of blessing. By keeping watch in prayer, you are not only protecting yourself, but also becoming a shield for others. Imagine the number of situations in which a prayer could change the course of events, an illness avoided, an accident prevented, or a project blessed. When you position yourself as a spiritual watchman, you are declaring to the spiritual world that you will not allow evil to prevail. And this attitude, accompanied by sincere prayers and prophetic declarations, generates a powerful impact on those around you. By engaging in this role, you are also fulfilling a commandment of love. Spiritually watching over others is an expression of genuine care. It is loving your neighbor as yourself, as Jesus taught us. Thus, your prayers can be directed to friends, family, and even people who do not even know the power of intercession. A watchman not only protects, but also intercedes for God's blessings on the lives of those who are under his spiritual care. And as the word says, the righteous who prays can do much in his effects. In this way, you not only strengthen yourself, but also spread the power of God wherever you go. Results of obeying this calling. When someone responds to the call to be a spiritual watchman, the impact on their personal life and those around them is evident. Obedience to this calling transforms not only their walk with God, but also the reality of those around them. Praying during the early hours of the morning, following divine guidance, and making prophetic declarations brings about a significant change. Imagine, for example, how your attitude of faith can open doors that previously seemed locked, bringing blessings to your projects, your family, and even to issues that previously seemed impossible. This happens because, by obeying, you are aligning your spirit with the will of God, who always wants the best for his children. Those who commit to being watchful in prayer and responding to the spiritual call notice a growing sensitivity to the voice of God. With each prayer, it is as if you are drawing closer to the heart of the Father, receiving clear and objective guidance for important decisions. In addition, this constant practice brings peace and confidence in the midst of daily challenges. When Christians put God first in everything, especially when responding to this special calling, the concerns that once dominated their minds begin to dissipate, because it becomes clear that God is in control. And it is in this walk of obedience that you become a channel of blessings for others, inspiring them with your example of faith. The practical results of this obedience can be felt in many areas of life. Many witness healings, restorations, and miracles happening around them when they dedicate themselves to this period of vigil and prayer. Over time, obedience to God's calling becomes a lifestyle, and the blessings flow naturally. Now that you know the deep meaning of waking up between 3 and 5 a.m. and the 3 powerful actions that can transform your life, the question is, are you willing to answer this calling? God is speaking, and perhaps He has already whispered in the silence of these early mornings, waiting for you to take the initiative. Imagine how much your life could change if you took this time to pray, make prophetic declarations, and immerse yourself in the blessings He has in store for you. What's stopping you from starting right now? The next step is simple. Put what you've learned into practice. Start keeping watch spiritually today, being a channel of blessings, and watch the transformations that will arise around you. God is already working, but He wants you to be an active part of it. Are you ready to answer this call and change your life? Leave a comment to let us know how you felt and share your experiences. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications to continue learning more about how to strengthen your faith and live according to God's purposes.